You wouldn't think we were in the same country. After yesterday's glorious sunrise and glorious day, despite a very cold wind, today is grey, much milder, and wet. And so I haven't been jogging at all today. If this carries on, I'm not going to go jogging. I'm very definitely a fair weather jogger. But yesterday was an amazing day because, in many ways, apart from the start, because we're staying at a motel in Highcliffe near Bournemouth. And Highcliffe is near Christchurch. And I had a vague memory that years ago, some 50 plus years ago, when I was young, in my early teens, being a good Catholic boy, I had wanted to become a priest, and I came down somewhere around here, Christchurch Way, on a retreat, I think it was, and I don't remember details of it in the slightest, whether it was a long weekend or a week or whatever. But I certainly remember coming down to this part of the world. And just along the road from here is a place called Highcliffe Castle. And it kind of rang a bell. Though I was fairly convinced it was at Christchurch, this place where I went. So yesterday afternoon, I took a stroll down to Highcliffe Castle. And hey, presto, this looks incredibly familiar. It's I don't know if it's genuine or mock. It's not castle-like in any way. It's more mansion-like, and I don't know how to describe it sort of architecturally, because I'm not an architect or a historian, but very sort of like perpendicular style is what I want to say. Sort of grand windows, tall, grand windows, leaded windows with stone carving all around, and big, huge doors everywhere with stone carving all around. And I just thought, this is it. This is certainly it. It feels like it is. So I walked around the back, and there's a low around the back are the big gardens, big garden area, and the venue now is a wedding venue, and there are kind of like posh tea rooms at the back. So I wasn't sort of trespassing on anyone's private land or anything. And at the back, as part of the gardens, is a low privet maze, and I kind of had a vague memory of a maze, walking around a maze as a young man. And I say young man, I reckon I was 13 or 14, pretty young. And anyway, I took lots of photographs of the place because it felt very much that this could be it. And if it wasn't, then the actual place in Christchurch is very similar. And I went round the back, as I was saying, and there's this big double doors, like an entrance. But the grand entrance, of course, is at the back of the building, or what appears to be the back, except it's facing the seaward side. And so I walked up to these grand doors, and just to see what was, if there are any leaflets around, because I think the local tourist board obviously has some sort of say in what goes on here, some sort of, I don't know, share or whatever, because there's loads of tourist leaflets, and I looked around to see if there were any leaflets describing the place, and I couldn't see any at all. But then I noticed on the wall a very brief history of the place, and lo and behold, it was at one time, didn't say when, it was at one time a Roman Catholic seminary. And so I think, hey, presto, this is definitely it. But why was I thinking Christchurch? Because Highcliffe is Christchurch, because a lot of the like our motel, which is in Highcliffe, is actually known as Christchurch Highcliffe. though there is a Christchurch, a separate Christchurch further along the coast towards Bournemouth. But I'm very close, and they're sort of linked, really. And so this is it. This was definitely the place where I was as a young man with aspirations of becoming a priest in those days. And so it felt very powerful, actually, to realise that. And it felt very powerful to be there. And one of my not resolutions, really, I don't do resolutions, but one of my projects for this year is to write an autobiography, not for public consumption. I'm not sure that my life would be a bestseller, but just for family, descendants, who might think, well, I wonder what made him the man he was. And of course, this going to seminary at such a young age, really, and having that sort of aspiration, almost certainly was a big influence in making me the man that I am now, I suppose, really. So it was really fabulous. It felt, what with that very powerful morning jog, and then discovering, literally within a 10 minutes walk from this motel, a place that I've driven past several times, thinking, I wonder. And it is. So that's fabulous. And I've now, in a way, officially started my autobiography, because I've now got photographs of the place, as well as a few vague memories coming back. Well, so it's sort of late morning. The rain is kind of coming and going. It's mostly going. I hope. It is supposed to clear up this afternoon. So maybe Catherine and I will get a walk in along the beach this afternoon sometime. Anyway, thanks for listening.